What's going on today, guys? My name is Forger, and today we're going to be talking about the newly released Final Destination movie entitled Bloodlines. It's the sixth installment in the franchise, and it took a massive 14 years of production to finally release. It was more like 5, but it's been 14 since the last movie, so we're going to go with that. Now, the precursor of this movie did meh at best in the box office. It's mainly attributed to the fact that it went up against a giant like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which did, I think, 4 times better in the box office and had double the budget. But it was an incredible movie at the time, and I think one of the highest grossing during 2011. Anyways, getting off topic, back to Final Destination. After 14 years of production, we finally have Bloodlines. Be aware, spoilers ahead. If you want to see the movie, stop watching this video now. Starting off the movie, we see Iris Campbell's premonition of the impending disaster with her boyfriend Paul having reserved dinner at the new high-rise spot in town called the Skyview. The premonition entails the entire tower falling as a result of a single penny that some fat kid threw. No wonder we're trying to get rid of him. We then come to see Stephanie in modern time. Confusingly from the other previous films, the premonition is seen by Stephanie rather than the subject of the vision. Quickly upon returning to her hometown, we find out Stephanie had a grandmother that everyone other than her somehow knows. And that in itself is a massive rabbit hole that we're not going down in this video. Maybe we'll do that in a different video. I don't know. Stephanie confronts her uncle and finds out that her uncle and mother were subjected to a massively overprotective childhood. And that is responsible for why her mother left her in her childhood. Again, how did this never come up if the mom left as a result? Stephanie's uncle, however, not willing to yield, refuses to put Stephanie in contact with her grandmother. But right after he leaves the room, the aunt of Stephanie just kind of folds, and the next shot is literally at the grandmother's house. But arriving at Iris's house, if you can call it that, it looks a lot more like a battlefield following a siege. She walks up to the cabin. Stephanie finds her, shocker, terminally ill grandmother Iris. So, things about to get kind of hectic because when she dies, they die. She explains the fact that she disturbed Death's design by preventing the tower's collapse, saving the lives of everyone that night. And as a result, Death began killing the survivors in the order that they would have died at Skyview, along with their descendants who were never meant to exist. Paul, who is the man in Iris's vision, passed away, and upon this, she committed to documenting all the bad omens, and she subjected herself to complete isolation to make sure that her family would always be safe. And Stephanie, thinking that she's crazy, just completely leaves, and Iris steps out of her cabin for the first time in 20 years, insisting that she takes the books filled with the documentation of bad omens. And Stephanie, kind of yields, and then immediately after this, Iris just gets a weather vane right through the fucking face. At Iris's funeral, Stephanie's mother returns to her, wanting to pay her respects, of course, to her mother. And Stephanie is very resentful of the fact that her mother finally pops out. She has no right, essentially. And then in the next scene, we have the funeral barbecue, and Stephanie, completely still angry at her mother, completely refuses to go and just instead elects to read Iris's book. And at this funeral, Uncle Howard, the previously mentioned uncle who refused to allow Stephanie to contact Iris, dies after a chain reaction of Final Destination nonsense, which then results in a lawnmower completely crushing his face. It was pretty dope. That's what you get. Howard should have been a little more cooperative. Following the barbecue, Eric, Howard's eldest son, is seen in the tattoo shop where a chain of events happen to make it so that it seems as if he dies, but in the next scene, it turns out he is completely fine. But Stephanie, thinking that Eric is next in line, she tries her best to protect him. Having met on the road with Stephanie, Eric tells her exactly what happened, and she just completely commits to protecting him from every single hazard that could possibly be seen on the road. But then Julia, Howard's second eldest child, is crushed to death by a garbage truck's compactor. The family realizes that death is coming for them in the order of age, starting with Howard's branch of the family, then to move on to Darlene's, which is the branch of the family that Stephanie's in. But all non-related blood relatives are fine. They're completely immune. And with this, Howard's wife admits that Eric is the result of an affair and not actually Howard's biological child. But Howard doesn't know that, so it's okay. Stephanie's mother, Darlene, suggests that the family go and visit Iris's old friend at the hospital. And big shocker, it's William Bloodworth, the only fucking guy that has been in every single goddamn Final Destination movie. Who would have seen this coming? He explains the two ways to defeat death: taking another life or dying and being revived. In the next scene, still at the hospital, Eric, the half-breed cousin, then suggests to his brother Bobby that he uses the second method of defeating death by invoking his peanut allergy. And since they're in a hospital, naturally he'll be revived. It's not that much of an issue. The plan, however, backfires, and Eric, the half-breed, gets added to the list by trying to help Bobby, despite the fact that he is not blood-related to the situation. And as they say, when you mess with death, things get messy. And when I say they, I literally only mean William Bloodworth, the creepy motherfucker. An MRI machine malfunction results in a massive power surge, and like a big sort of magnet just kind of happens and kills Eric by impaling him with a wheelchair through the MRI machine. Still standing there, as the door opens, a vending machine coil launches directly into Bobby's head and, just kind of does things that, vending machine coils do to heads and kind of kills them. Yeah, it was kind of gross. So Stephanie and Co., meaning Stephanie, Charlie, and Darlene, so the rest of her family, her entire branch, decide to drive up to Iris's cabin, intending to hide from death because Iris was able to survive there for so long. Getting there, the RV crashes and Stephanie's belt jams. The cabin then explodes after a massive chain reaction, sending the RV into the water as Stephanie begins to drown. Her mother saves her brother and asks her brother to go and save Stephanie before a lamp just kills Darlene. Charlie breaks the seatbelt because it was jammed and brings Stephanie back with CPR. Then a week later, the dad of Charlie's girlfriend tells the siblings that she was never truly dead because her heart never actually stopped. Then at that moment, as a result of the initial penny that was thrown off the tower, which is just such a paradox and makes no sense, but I guess, hey, Final Destination, so yeah, I don't know. It makes a train derail, and they're like, oh, okay, we're in the clear, after they run for quite a while, and then some massive logs just kind of yeet over the fucking train and just kill them both. Yeah. But it was in perfect order because, Stephanie died first, then Charlie. So, the timeline remains. Honestly, though, this movie was not all too bad, but also was not worth the 14-year wait. They could have just kept this shit dead. Nobody would have been fucking any sadder. Much like Gladiator, to be honest. Gladiator 2 was just not it. Was not nearly as good as Gladiator 1. I can't possibly bring myself, however, to rate this film any more than 50%. It was very in line with previous Destination films, but it didn't provide much apart from that, except for the Bloodlines twist, which was a good add-on, but, I don't know. It just was not worth the 14-year wait. I would strongly say there's no reason to not go see it, but I also wouldn't go out of my way. It was a good movie, but it wasn't the best movie. Final Destination 1 still definitely takes the cake. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a lovely day, and I don't know. See you in the next upload or something, I guess. Adios, friends. Goodbye. Bravo. Good movie. 50%. Goodbye.